Hi! So it's been a few weeks since I've had a hot take, so here's one for you. Your use of fancy words and jargon does not make me think you're intelligent. I've had real people in my life ask me, Kendra, you majored in English, didn't ya? Yeah, I don't know why you're doing a really bad southern accent. I don't know either, but why don't you use more bigger words? Like, first of all, being a writer and majoring in English does not automatically get you handed a thesaurus, although that would have been so much cooler to receive than a fake diploma. But second of all, in my opinion, if we focus specifically on the fact that I'm a writer, my job is not to use big fancy words. My job is to use the right word. And sometimes the right word is just simply, but ultimately what I wanted to talk about in this video, in my opinion. Big words don't make you sound smart. They make you sound pretentious. While I'm not exactly alone in this opinion, I am apparently in the minority. At least according to a 2021 study by Preply, which found that 3 out of 4 people thought that individuals with more complex vocabularies were also more intelligent, or at least appeared more intelligent. Links to that study and other tangentially related resources are in the doobly-doo below. However, there's really not a lot of research on the linkage between vocabulary, ability to use complex language, and actual intelligence and knowledge. So with that in mind, there's not a lot of research on this. This video is all about the opinion. That's what you came here for. So I went off script and somehow this turned into a musical. Okay. Let me set the record straight. Having a decent sized vocabulary is important. A basic understanding of language is essential to being able to communicate your own thoughts, ideas, observations, etc., etc. And within vocabulary, that special compartment of jargon is really important, especially when dealing with specialized fields, because jargon creates a lot of shortcuts in communication that makes communication more efficient. I think about myself as a piercer. If I were to talk to another piercer without using jargon, it might sound like this. Yeah, I pushed the super sharp hollow needle with a plastic covering over it through the soft flesh in the center portion of the nose, separating the nostrils. Which, while being a pretty mid-example of circumlocution, is a lot less efficient than just saying, yeah, I use a catheter needle to pierce the septum. But my issues with vocabulary don't really have so much to do with specialized fields so much as everyday conversations. See, I've been told before that if I don't know the meaning of a complex word that somebody's using in a conversation, that's my problem. Which, first of all, is a mid-example of obfuscating, combined with this weird perception that somebody whose undergraduate degree was in English, not that this expensive piece of paper bothers to say that anywhere, I should somehow know every word created ever in this language. And I definitely find myself feeling a little insecure in some of those conversations, which kind of restricts my learning because rather than engaging in the conversation and learning these cool, interesting new words, I end up retracting myself from the conversation. What's particularly ironic is that study I mentioned earlier found that roughly 55% of people have used bigger words that they didn't know the meaning of, all in an attempt to sound smarticle. Which makes it fun around me because a lot of these people that think a bigger vocabulary means you got big brains tends to backfire on them because they'll use a big word incorrectly, and I'll be like, hey, do you even know what that means? I take no nonsense. I normally don't criticize people for not knowing English words because this is a very broken language, but if you're gonna criticize me, we're gonna fight. To simplify this disaster of a video, being told that it's my problem if I don't understand what somebody else is saying, 1, ultimately means I don't understand what they're saying, which kind of defeats the purpose of communication. And 2, makes me not want to talk to them because, frankly, they seem like pretentious dicks. And to dive a little bit deeper, this mentality is never going to make me think, huh, this person uses big words. They must be big smart. Rather, it illustrates to me their inability to understand conceptually what they are actually talking about. And they use their big vocabulary to hide this fact. It's like me drinking the sweet tea and saying, yeah, I process the sugar through cellular respiration, and me being able to say cellular respiration is the process of digesting sugar and turning it into energy. This is an area that I really wish that more researchers would dive into. And this is my hypothesis. People who can only explain concepts with complicated linguistic inflections tend to fail to comprehend the concept at a specific knowledge level. In other words, I believe that people that can only explain something using big fancy jargon don't actually understand conceptually what they're talking about. However, an individual that is able to explain something in a very simplistic manner, I firmly believe, has a much deeper understanding. To simplify even further, if you can explain something to me like I'm 5, I'm gonna believe you understand what you're talking about. And that's not to say that every idea that you ever present to anybody in any conversation needs to be dumbed down. Nor does that mean that I'm asking to be spoken down to. But if you are able to take something as complicated as like quantum physics and break it down to the point that a literal child can make sense of it, or better yet, being able to use contemporary metaphors and jargon and slang that, the youths are using, it's lit. I am going to trust that you understand that concept inside and out compared to the person who can only explain it using big, jargony words that makes it sound like they're just reciting something from a textbook. To make my long story short and bring my hot take to a gentle simmer, as far as I'm concerned, and I would love for people that do research on this stuff to do research on this. You will sound a lot smarter being able to use simpler words, especially if you are using simple words to explain complicated ideas and theories. So I'm gonna go turn the sugar into energy. In the meantime, let me know down in the comments below. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do big words equal big smart? The world may never know. While you're down there, be sure to like this video, subscribe, whatever other YouTubers say all the time. And I will see you next time. Bye!